there's a lot of crossover that where, say if it's a yoke, super yoke,
Yes.
one of my guys out here discovered, and I've had a super yoke, which has basically been nothing more than a billboard for us. But he picked it up, and it's heavy. Just without anything, it's heavy. So he picked it up and thought about it. And he's like, if I do this, I don't have to do shit for my abs. I don't have to do anything. I just walk with it down and back. His walkout got better. His pit, or he uses monolift. So his pit got way better. All this stuff got way better. He figured out where the threshold was. He found out where too much was. Absolutely. And then dialed it back down, and then just does his walk once every couple of weeks. He's figured out where his minimum is, which that's powerlifting, is you got to find the minimal effective dose, especially the higher you are. It's more pulling people back than it is pushing them forward.
Absolutely.
Which is so backwards to how people think.
Absolutely.
Where the beginners need a kick in the ass and to do more work.
100%.
Where the strongest, the stronger need, like, whoa, dude, that's it. Yeah. You're done. What the hell you mean?
Right.
But even with them, they got to kind of push it. At least I always did, and the people that I work with seem to do the same thing. So I don't know. They push it and they find out where that edge is.
They would be great if they didn't.
Then they back it down off that edge, and they know, okay, I just don't want them falling off the edge like I did. Then
I will say the yoke, like the super yoke, like for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, like you stick it on your back and you walk, right? Like it doesn't look like it'd be hard at all, but it is brutal. I will say, like, if you do like a stupid high rep set of deadlifts where like you're like, I'm trying to prove something, and then like you have the flu for like the next day, the yoke is worse than that. Yeah. Like it is the number one drainer, right? So you need to be super careful with it. But I will say, as far as like, how like there's a tolerance to lifting heavy things, especially on your back. Like if you haven't had 500 pounds on your back for a long time, you put 500 pounds on your back and it feels like a truck. Like you lose it, like your tolerance is gone, right? A yoke is a great thing to throw like 800 pounds on your back, walk around for a little bit, 500 pounds feels like nothing, right? Like there's like a super maximal type of effect that carries over a decent amount of time. There was a time when I didn't have very much training time at all. And I would do my yoke walks on Sunday night, completely backwards, but I do yoke walks Sunday night late, super heavy, and then Monday morning I would do squats, and I was hitting PRs like crazy. Even though we're talking about hours later, and I should be run down, I was hitting PRs like crazy just because my body was like, 600 pounds doesn't mean anything when you just had like 900 pounds on your back, what I mean? And like, there might not be a whole lot of scientific study behind it or anything, but there's a whole lot of...
Well, I can make the argument that your body really isn't entering the super compensate. It's really not broken down.
Sure.
It is broken down, but it hasn't really started the recovery phase.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even though you did sleep. Or I could also make the argument it wasn't enough work that you recovered throughout the night sleeping. So there's always, the science is great. I'm never going to be one to bash the science guys ever. I read every one of the science review journals that are out there, and they're a great thing. I'm glad that they're being published.
Yeah,
out of all of them, I guess I'll give props to Greg Knuckles and his crew with Mass, because they always seem to hit really good topics. Some of the other ones just kind of like throw shit against the wall, and it's like, oh man, what's
or it's information for information's sake.
Yeah,
it's not applicable.
And for me, I'm reading that stuff more because I love it.
Yeah.
And it's a hobby. It's not going to help me in business in any way whatsoever. It's just, wow, this is.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's what I went to school for. It's, I can get pulled down a rabbit hole, and that's why I have these, because I print them, then I read them in paper form, so I can't get sucked down an internet rabbit hole going to see where, they're summarizing the research. I can go find the research, read the research, so then the next thing you know, half my day's gone because I went back to who I used to be 30 years ago when I was really into all that shit.
Yep.
So I got stacks in the office. You'll see just fucking printed out shit all over the place of that kind of stuff. But it's fun, but you can't go directly on that because everybody's so different. Now, there are things that are just common training laws.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's principles.
Yeah, there's principles that just are always going to be what they're going to be.
And yet there's still some outliers every once in a while. And somebody's always like, well, what about? And you're like, dude, you're not Ed Cohn.
Yes.
Sorry. Like, you're not. Like, I get that a lot. Like, people saying like, well, what about this guy? I'm like, you're not him.
Yeah,
you're not doing what he's doing. Like
leverages matter.
Yes.
You know, a lot.
Yes.
You know, in some sports, a whole hell of a lot. You know, it's like, wow, look at this dude. I'm like, say it's a huge deadlifter.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know, it's if you really want to learn from that person, see what they bench.
Yeah.
You know, because you take somebody that's got, you know, over a 900-pound pull.
Oftentimes there are some gorilla arms.
Yeah, and if they got a 550 plus bench, learn how they benched.
Yeah.
Because that's fucking impressive.
Yeah.
With arms like that, that's
absolutely
way impressive. You'll learn more about the bench from them than you will the guy that's built the bench.
Yes.
Whereas you take the guy with the stubby arms who's got a big pole.
Yes.
All right. You're going to learn more about how to deadlift from them than you will the guy that pulls with super long arms.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of learning in reverse.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been